Hey guys, Dan here from DansTube.TV, and today I'm really excited to review the Nebula 5100 3-axis handheld gimbal. Woo! What a name. Anyway, it's $859 on their website, and I will have the link in the description below. I have tested many gimbals in the past, but the Nebula 5100 is a completely new design to me. Now, it's got quite a lot of weight to it. That's something I noticed straight away. It's heavier than any other gimbal I've tested before, but that's because it has a heavier payload rating on it. Now, I'll get onto that in a second, but when it comes to the design itself, it has quite an industrial design to it. It's all metal, it's got a nice finish to it, but I don't necessarily like the placement of the buttons on the left-hand side. Now, the grip itself, the pistol grip, is interesting, but this unit is very heavy, guys. Now, previous gimbals I've tested, they didn't strain my arm, but this one, it does have a bit of weight to it, so it all depends on your personal preference. Like I said, bigger payloads, that means you can carry heavier cameras, but the buttons on the left-hand side, you've got the actual thumbstick to tilt and pan and control the actual gimbal itself. You also have a mode button, you have a record button which connects to your camera through infrared, and then you have an on and off switch. I do like the case that they have included in the pack here. It's a thick leather case that definitely protects the gimbal itself. It also includes a charging cable, and I got a tiny tripod as well, which is a really nice touch. You can obviously mount your camera then in a fixed position, and it's just a handy little thing to add as an additional accessory. Now, when it comes to the battery, it's actually physically quite a large battery, but it's only 1800 milliamp hours, so it is a smart battery. It does really well allocating the battery life, and they say that you get 8 to 10 hours. I haven't had to charge it once yet, and I've been using it for hours on end, so definitely a true representation of how much you get out of this gimbal. Obviously, the battery life will depend on the payload, how much the camera weighs and everything, but very easy to charge. It's just a direct charge, which definitely makes it more convenient. The Nebula 5100 weighs 1.1 kilograms, so that's relatively heavy. That's pretty much a camera itself, a hefty DSLR camera. My GH4 with a lens weighs around that. The gimbal itself, though, can hold 2.5 kilograms, so that is a large portion of the cameras on the market right now. A large portion of the professional DSLRs, mirrorless cameras, definitely for sure, and 2.5 kilos is a lot to play with, so that is definitely future-proofing the gimbal for heavier cameras in the future. Now, one thing to mention, when we were testing the Sony a6000, I noticed that a smaller camera didn't actually work as well. Now, it definitely had issues. I could hear the motors definitely working way too hard, and the result wasn't as good as when I put the GH4 on, which is a slightly heavier camera, or significantly heavier camera from a mirrorless camera. So definitely recommend this gimbal here for a heavy camera. It's heavy itself, and it's quite a sturdy rig, so it lends itself to the heavier cameras, which makes sense for something of this quality here. I loved how straight out of the box this gimbal was ready to go. I didn't have to calibrate or do anything. The one thing you do have to do, though, is when you put your camera on the plate, you have to balance it with the arms. So that was something that I did have a little bit of an issue with. It wasn't the end of the world, but it took a little bit of time to balance the camera perfect before I actually turned the gimbal on. Now, that's definitely important, because otherwise you'll have more strain on one motor over the other one, so you need to make sure that it's actually balanced before you turn it on and the camera is fixed facing forward, not flopping around everyone. So I noticed that I had to place the plate itself, where I mounted the camera, off to the far right hand side, and that was for my test with the GH4 and with the Sony a6000. So that was a little bit odd to me that I had to place it so far off to the right hand side, but after I got it all set up, I didn't really have any issues, besides the fact that this gimbal doesn't work as well with the lighter cameras. I didn't hear any motor strain or anything when we had the right camera on, and I did enjoy the controls when I got used to it. Like I mentioned, it is heavy, but I got some really nice shots with it, and overall the performance was dead on solid. It was really awesome when it came to the heavier camera. Now, I got some nice smooth tilting shots, panning shots, and all of the controls were really easy to pick up. One thing that I was disappointed with is when you tilt down to try to get a subject below you, for example, the gimbal itself actually goes floppy and it can't hold the weight of the camera. You have to actually turn the handle upside down, so the handle is above the camera and the camera is below you, as you saw at the beginning of the video how I was holding it there. Now, this was something I had to figure out. I had to look online, and this was a common issue, so after you got used to that, it really wasn't a drama, and I got some nice shots like that. Really easy to hold it like that as well. I preferred to hold it like that over the normal conventional way, and this was an interesting way to film as well, so it definitely taught me a little bit more about getting those nice low moving shots or panning shots. So after I got used to this gimbal, I was really impressed, guys. Now, I can recommend it 100%, even though there are some things I would like to see changed or improved. The gimbal itself did a great job, and that's the main thing you want. You want ease of use, you want a solid product with great battery life, and you want the performance to be top notch. Now, it does tick a lot of those boxes. Like I mentioned, there are positives and negatives, but if you've got the money and you're looking for a gimbal that can support quite a heavy camera, one of the heavier DSLRs, then 100% with the GH4, this gimbal is great. So this is going to be my GH4 gimbal. The gimbal also has 1/4" screws all over the body, so that means that you can mount it to a tripod, you can mount microphones or lights or whatever you need to mount to this actual unit here. Does a really good job. It also has a hidden cable design, so that's really nice. You don't have any exposed cables. Some other gimbals have the cables, which I'm really not happy about. So this design here, it's all hidden away in a metal body, nice and durable. You also have 360-degree unlimited rotation, so there's no locking point. You can just keep rotating. If it's set to a tripod and you're using the application to control it, then you can get that 360-degree motion and unlimited. You don't have to worry about it hitting a lock point. Really great there. Overall though, this gimbal is a powerhouse. If you're looking for something around this price point, something to hold a heavier DSLR camera, then look into the Nebula 5100. This is a 3-axis handheld gimbal with a lot of different options and lots of functions built into it, so a great unit overall, and I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below. If you do own one, if you're going to pick one up, comment below. I will reply to you guys. Thank you so much for watching though. Make sure to have a splendid day, and peace out.